So, how are we going to feed the world using less chemicals and less CO2? Now, I'm assuming there aren't too many farmers in the audience today, so I'll educate you a little about agriculture. And just to let you know, Ecorobotix is a company that was founded in Switzerland and really focused on changing agriculture for the better. So reducing CO2, reducing energy, really trying to help out farmers do their job and do their job better. There we go. Okay, so agriculture, how's it work? Farmers grow stuff, we eat stuff. And surprisingly enough, we all have to eat. And there are a lot of people on the planet today. And farm work is incredibly intensive. These guys work incredibly hard. They get up early, they work hard all day, they produce crops, they sell the crops eventually, they don't make a lot of money, and they work pretty hard. And actually, as you can see there, about 72% of the world's farms are small farms, and they rely almost entirely on family labor to operate. So literally, your sons and daughters are the ones going out there and making the farm operate. But in reality, those small farms only generate about 8% of agriculture. It's generally the larger farms that produce most of the food that we eat. But small farms, large farms, they're all very dependent on very energy-intensive processes. They rely on fertilizers, they rely on herbicide to kill the weeds, they rely on insecticide to kill the insects, they rely on pesticide to kill the pests. And all of these take a lot of energy to produce, so you get a lot of CO2 footprint. And they've become very expensive, especially given what's happening in the world today. The cost of these inputs are going up like crazy. So roughly what happens, you're a farmer, you clear your field, you put fertilizer into the ground, you spray your seeds over the field. As they start to grow, weeds appear. The weeds grow way faster than the crops do. So you better find out a way to stop the weeds and let the crop grow. And generally, 90% of farming uses chemicals to do that. You pretty much spray what's called a selective herbicide, so a weed killer, which kills the weeds and theoretically doesn't hurt the crop. And generally, depending on what crop you're in, you'll do this 2 to 5 times while the field is growing. So I don't know how many people here are aware that pretty much everything you're eating has had weed killer sprayed over it a number of times, then you spray it with insecticide, and then you spray it with pesticide. Now, clearly, it's not a great idea, and then you come along a little later, spray some liquid fertilizer to help it grow. But it really is by far the most effective way of killing weeds and letting crops grow. You can try mechanical, lasers, microwaves, lots of other ways of trying to kill plants. And in fact, quite a lot of farmers actually get immigrants to lie on a bed and pull the bed through the field and have the poor immigrants pulling the weeds out from between the crops. But none of those are as effective as spraying chemicals on the field. But of course, pretty negative impact on the planet, pretty negative impact on what we eat. So everyone's trying to move away from that. So obviously the answer is we all go organic. So let's stop using chemicals. And organic farming is great. Sustainable farming is great. Regenerative farming is great. There's a little minor problem. Unfortunately, organic farming generates about 25% less crop than conventional agriculture. And unfortunately, we're only producing roughly about enough food to feed the planet at the moment. So if everyone went organic tomorrow, about a quarter of the planet would starve, which would be a little bit of a problem. Or we all become vegetarians, which I'm not wholly convinced we're all ready for yet. So although organic is great, and in the EU, for example, about 9% of agriculture is organic, it really is not the long-term answer to feeding the planet and helping these farmers actually do their job properly. So we really have to help agriculture and farmers do this better using technology, whether it's better intelligence from AI or better execution using robotics or automation. So what do? So Ecorobotix looked at this problem and said, okay, how can we make this faster and smarter and reduce the chemicals and the energy use? So on the machine in the field, we mount a powerful computer, a couple of cameras, and we take pictures and identify the individual plants in real time using machine learning, artificial intelligence. This lets us identify which are the crops and which are the weeds, even when they're tiny, 1 centimeter high or when they're this high. And because we do that quickly in real time, less than 500 milliseconds, we can actually make decisions that are much smarter. So we then decide what are we going to treat and with what, and we then target the herbicides, the insecticides, the pesticides, the fertilizer, only on the plant you actually want to treat. So you spray the herbicide only on the weed, not on the soil around it, not on the plant, not on the crop you're trying to grow. And if you can do that, well, actually, we started to try and do it with standard sprayers, but unfortunately, standard sprayers can only do an accuracy of about 1 meter by 1 meter. So not immensely helpful. So we ended up developing our own ultra high precision sprayer, and we can do 6 centimeter by 6 centimeter accuracy. And you can use that to do herbicide. You can use that to just target insecticide. You can use that to deliver liquid fertilizer just to the plant itself, not to the weeds, not to the soil. And you can do it in real time. And we thought, this is a really cool solution. Everybody will want this. It reduces massively the costs. It saves on chemicals. So we built an autonomous robot. We put the robot in the field, and farmers are kind of conservative and not quite ready to buy robots or pay for robots yet. So we then took the same technology and said, okay, we'll make it look like what they're used to. So we built a big sprayer. The sprayer goes back on the back of the tractor, and the farmers can drive the tractor through the field just the way they do today, except for the fact that this sprayer only treats the weeds and no longer blanket sprays the whole field. And remarkably, farmers like this as an idea. So we've been building them now for about 1.5 years. We've sold every machine we've produced. We've got over 50 of them working in the fields already. We'll do 100 next year. We'll have 150 working next year. And this technology is not just limited to liquid delivery, but you can use it to improve other farming techniques as well. So, but the consequence is really important, which is less herbicide, less insecticide, less pesticide, less fertilizer, because you can target it better biodiversity, because the soil is no longer being nuked by chemicals. And remarkably enough, if you don't spray a crop with weed killer, it does grow better. And actually, we're getting between 5 and 20% better crop yields by no longer spraying the crop. So this is a very beneficial technology. And what's it mean? 80 to 95% less herbicide, and you get more food. About 20 to 25% less insecticide, pesticide, or fertilizer, and you get more food. And remarkably enough, because you save a lot of these energy-intensive chemicals, were you to take this technology and apply it worldwide across agriculture, you could eliminate about 0.5% of the entire world's CO2 used today. So we think that there is a phenomenal opportunity here for using intelligence, whether AI, ML, as well as automation and robotics, to improve how farmers operate today. And not just conventional agriculture, which is 90% of what we do, but we're also now working with organic and non-chemical liquid delivery as well. So we think this is a phenomenal opportunity, and we really have to help out farmers who have a really tough existence and a tough life, and to make this more efficient. I hope you found this interesting, and thank you very much.